Research sites, also known as investigative sites, study centers, or research clinics, are all essentially the same thing. These are places where clinical trials are carried out under the direction of a principal investigator, PI, typically a licensed physician, MD or DO. These investigators are contracted by pharmaceutical companies to carry out clinical studies based on the sponsor's study protocol. They must also follow federal regulations, local laws, and a global ethical framework known as Good Clinical Practice, GCP. Research sites can take many forms. Some are private clinics owned by physicians, while others are part of hospitals, universities, or hybrid combinations. Academic medical centers, for example, often receive grants from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, to run clinical trials. Sometimes these academic trials are designed by the institutions themselves and not aimed at FDA drug approval. However, this explainer focuses on FDA-regulated trials, studies meant to support a new drug application, NDA. In these trials, the PI is legally responsible for the conduct of the study and the safety of the patients, while FDA guidelines, 21 CFR 31253, don't technically require the PI to be a physician. Sponsors almost always choose one because the role requires deep medical expertise. At minimum, every site must have a principal investigator, PI. The PI oversees the conduct of clinical trials and ensures compliance with the protocol and GCP standards. While being a physician is not legally required by the FDA, nearly all pharmaceutical sponsors will only accept physicians as PIs due to the medical oversight involved. But clinical research sites typically involve more than just the PI. One of the most important support roles is the Clinical Research Coordinator, CRC, also known as study coordinators. These professionals ensure the study is executed correctly on a daily basis. This role doesn't always require a formal degree, but it does demand experience, organization, and a deep understanding of how trials are run. The CRC is employed by the PI or by the site itself and works to make sure all regulatory requirements are met. They prepare source documents, schedule patient visits, and often serve as the primary point of contact for both the sponsor and the participants. At smaller sites, a CRC might do nearly everything, from data entry to patient recruitment to managing supplies. At larger sites, CRCs might focus on just a few tasks and be supported by research assistants. The responsibilities of the clinical research coordinator vary significantly from site to site. At some clinics, CRCs handle just a few specific tasks, like filling out source documents. At others, they might manage every aspect of the study, including scheduling and conducting patient visits, coordinating communication with the PI and sponsor, ordering and organizing lab kits and investigational product, IP, handling regulatory paperwork and documentation, entering trial data into electronic data capture EDC systems. CRCs also help patients complete the Informed Consent Form, ICF, ensuring that participants fully understand the risks and benefits of the study before enrolling. If a patient has concerns, the CRC and PI must address them before proceeding. If a patient decides to withdraw during the study, the CRC facilitates that process and updates all records accordingly. Some CRCs also recruit patients, a skill that is both rare and valuable. The workload can be heavy, but at larger sites, research assistants may help take on tasks like data entry and sample shipping. Depending on the size of the site, a single CRC may manage anywhere from 1 to 20 studies at once. In addition to the PI and CRC, many research sites include sub-investigators, sub-Is or SIs. Sub-Is are not always required by the FDA but are often requested by sponsors to help ensure adequate oversight. They might be needed to conduct specialized medical assessments, cover for the PI, or boost recruitment. Sub-investigators can be other physicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, PhDs, or even study coordinators in some cases. Their role is to support the PI and ensure trial quality and compliance, especially in complex or high volume studies. Another common support role is the clinical research assistant. Research assistants handle tasks such as preparing for patient visits, completing data entry, organizing regulatory files, assisting with sample collection and shipment. At smaller sites, these tasks are often handled by the coordinator alone, but at larger, high-volume clinics or academic centers, research assistants are essential. They free up the CRCs to focus on higher-level patient care and study management. One of the most in-demand and overlooked skills in clinical research is patient recruitment. It's also one of the best ways for newcomers to break into the field. Why? Because nearly 70% of clinical trials are delayed due to low patient enrollment. Recruitment issues cost sponsors millions and delay life-saving treatments. Sites are always looking for people who can help identify, qualify, and enroll eligible participants. Whether you're a new graduate, a medical assistant, or someone looking to pivot careers, learning patient recruitment strategies can give you a competitive edge. Many sites offer internships or part-time roles focused solely on recruitment, which can be a perfect stepping stone into roles like research assistant or coordinator. Demonstrating that you understand both the science and the people side of research can set you apart in a highly competitive field. In summary, research sites are the heartbeat of clinical trials. Whether you're aiming to be a PI, CRC, sub-I, or just getting your foot in the door, there's a place for you in this evolving, mission-driven industry. Every study starts and ends with the people at these sites, and the future of medicine depends on them.